Hello and welcome to another episode of Deb's Artsy Life. It's been a good while since I have filmed, but I had just a few moments this afternoon and I got new yarn in the mail that I'm just so excited about and want to show you. I've got a few projects going. I've been very busy this month. I have a new grandson. He was born June 29th, which was Saturday before last, and everybody's doing great. But it has definitely been busy. But today I'm really excited. I couldn't wait to come home from work because I've got to show you this yarn. I've got Super Saver Bitty Stripes. Finally! This is a new yarn that first came out in Canada, and then it became available not long ago in the United States, but it was only available from Yarnspiration's website. And there was no, coupons and free shipping and all that stuff. So I kept hesitating and I didn't buy it. For one reason, I got rid of a lot of my Super Saver just because of the scratchiness. But this I can't resist variegated, colorful, bright yarn like this. And this is 515 yards, 10 ounces of yarn. And I think it was with coupons and everything, I didn't pay full price at all. It was like maybe $7 or $8 a skein, which is not bad. This is the color Rainbow. I got 2 of these. And I've ordered 2 of the crayon box. But they are shipping separately. But it's Okie-Tech certified. I don't know if you can see it. Standard 100. So it's machine washable and dryable, and these colors are so yummy. I mean, just look at that. Oh my gosh, I just cannot wait. I don't know what I'm going to make. I have no idea, but I know I'm going to crochet and knit a swatch at least. But it's the Super Saver Bitty Stripes. And I have to tell you, this yarn is not scratchy. I mean, it's not the softest yarn because it is Red Heart Super Saver, but it's not going to be unbearable to work with, I don't think. I'm going to work with it regardless, just because I love these colors. My webcam seems to not want to cooperate today. Hopefully this won't be blurry. But 2 of these, 515 yards each. This has a pattern on it, or I don't know if it's a pattern or just a picture. Yeah, it says pattern on back. But anyway, to make that blanket, it says it takes 5 balls of the crayon box. So this should make, I don't know, maybe a sweater, maybe, I don't know what excuse me, I don't know what I want to do with it. But I was so excited to get this. And on my last video, I was telling you that I returned all that Big Twist, Joann Big Twist Party. I was so excited about that yarn. And it was because of those variegated colors, and so I just kept buying and buying and buying, but I wasn't using it, and so I did get rid of that. I took it back to the store and got back like over $300. So, I will use worsted weight yarn. Really, the Big Twist Party was more of it wasn't really a 3-weight, but it wasn't a 4-weight. It wasn't a very thick yarn. And the more I use thick yarn, the more I like it. I love bulky number 5. I love 4-weight. So my favorite thing in all the world to make is bags and baskets and granny squares. I love granny squares. And so here's a basket I made recently, and I've got 2 or 3 more in the closet similar to this. This is made with 3 yarns held together, and some of it That vanilla color or ivory color is the clearance yarn from Hobby Lobby. I can't remember the name of it, but it's one that they got in last year, and now they're clearancing it out, so I guess they won't have it anymore. But it worked up really well in this basket. So anyway, I've been doing a lot of that, and also I tried to knit a lace pattern. I don't know what possessed me. I really didn't know how hard it was going to be. But it was very, 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 very detailed. And you had to count and follow the instructions to the letter. And I made a mistake in it. I couldn't figure out how to fix the mistake. I had crocheted about this much. And it was absolutely gorgeous. It was working up so beautifully. But twice I tried to fix it. And I just ended up frogging it. And I decided, I almost stopped knitting. I almost said I'm not going to knit anymore. Because it is so frustrating to me to try to correct a mistake like that and then to have it go all awry and you have to frog the whole thing. Crochet is so easy to correct a mistake. And even if you have to frog it, you don't spend, I mean, I had spent hours on just this much. So crochet just goes faster for me. But what I do love to do, I've discovered, is to knit these mitered squares. They are the most fun. All you do is cast on 48 stitches, or, you know, if you want a smaller square, you cast on less. But you cast on a multiple of 2, and you knit the first row and put your stitch marker and divide it in half. There's a YouTube video that I follow. I think it's Snuffle Bean yarn. But the decrease to make it a square is you just on each side of the stitch marker that divides the cast on stitches into 2 parts, you just do a knit 2 together on one side and a slip slip knit on the other, and it makes like a decrease going up the center that looks so pretty, I think. And so I made 4 of this color. I think this is my first one, and it looks a little more sloppy than the subsequent ones do. I feel like I'm getting better at it. This is the right side. This is that beautiful Loops and Threads, oh, pooey. I can't think what it is, but it's that yarn from Michaels that's similar to the puzzle yarn. I think it's not Carousel Twist, but it's something else. I don't know. But I love how stretchy these are. I don't know if they'll be like that. You're supposed to crochet them knit them as you go. This one's really interesting. It looks like a whole different yarn, but it's the same yarn. It's just variegated. But anyway, this is a different color. I've shown these yarns in a previous video, but I don't have a skein of it in here with the label, and I can't think what it is. But it's available at Michaels. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. One thing I was thinking about doing is crocheting them together and making a bag. 4 squares on one side maybe and 4 on the other. And then kind of incorporating some crochet into it. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'm just having so much fun doing these squares. They take longer than a granny square, obviously. But then you don't have but 2 ends to sew in with this yarn. And you can do stripes. You can do so many things with this knitted square. So I really like this because I love granny squares and I love piecing things together and, you know, making bags or whatever. So I'm doing that, and it takes pretty much a night of TV to do one square. I'm getting a little bit faster. So I was able to do one yesterday afternoon. Also, I've been trying to use up my anti-peeling Premier yarn. And I'm not sure, I don't have a project in mind. It's probably going to be a bag. But I've made all these squares. And I'm just making the daisy and then putting a bright color around it. There's the green one. And it's probably going to be a bag. You guys know me. It'll be a bag. And then I've made this one and this one. So I've been working on that. And I just kind of, grab whatever I'm in the mood for that night. This weekend it was knitting. I just wanted to get back to my knitting. I'm still knitting on this blanket, but I'm on the decrease side. This is for the grandson, the new grandson, but it is so hot here right now. Oh my gosh, it is so hot and humid. I didn't even wear makeup to work today because I was so hot this morning that I couldn't stop perspiring long enough to put it on. That's how bad it was. And we had the air on, but I had taken a hot shower, I was drinking hot coffee, and I was miserable. So I went to work today with no makeup on. And you know what? I don't care. It was fine. It felt good to just let my face breathe. But anyway, I'm working on that blanket. And I did a thing. My daughter went to the hospital not this past Friday, but the one before, June 28th, thinking that she was in labor. So I thought we were going to have a baby that day. And I got really, not anxious, but excited, and I was just keyed up. And I needed to relax. I had been working all day. And so they ended up later sending her home from the hospital. And then, of course, she had to go straight back on Saturday. But she wasn't in active labor on Friday night like she thought she was. But anyway, what I did was I got this wild hair, and I thought, I need some retail therapy. I need some cotton. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby because it was yarn week, and I'm going to get some cotton yarn. I've been thinking about the variegated because I'd seen some posts on Instagram. I love this cotton variegated yarn. Well, I love it all. Well, actually, I didn't think I loved it. But, oh my goodness, it's too hot to use acrylic, obviously. I mean, it's like, oh, it's so hot here. It's not in the 90s, but the humidity is, so oppressive. But anyway, I started working on this, and I am having the best time. I didn't work on it this weekend because I just was in the mood to knit. But it's just a circle, and then I turned it into a square. So the whole thing almost looks like a square. It's kind of like freeform. I mean, it's not really freeform, but I'm not really following a pattern. I thought that this would either be a top, which I don't know if I want a big bullseye on my chest. So I'm thinking it might be a pillow. I need some new pillow covers because the ones I bought from Amazon, they have fuzz all over them. I don't like them. It's like the fabric's really cheap. You can't see it, but they've got those peels on them. So I thought, well, I could crochet a really bright cotton cover for that. So anyway, it might be that, or it might be, who knows what it's going to be. I'm just playing. And I know it looks a little wonky, but once it, is blocked or whatever, I think it'll be okay. So I'm working on that, and I also did this one, and he's kind of been wadded up, so he's really looking sad. But I just love that yarn. This is called Paris in June. I only spent like $34, and I got a whole basket full of cotton yarn. So I also got solid colors, And I was thinking about my bright kitchen when I bought them, so I bought all the bright rainbow colors, including white, green, orange, and a darker blue. Okay, so you get the gist of that. That's what I did. And I probably shouldn't have, but boy, it was fun. It just felt so good to come home and mess with that. Here's the ball of that Michael's yarn, and I'm using the needles that the yarn calls for to do those squares. So I'm going to be doing this tonight probably, unless I decide to crochet again. I also made, with the cotton yarn, squares, just some granny squares. I love, love, love flower granny squares. Just look at that. I just think that is so beautiful. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them, but I thought I'm just going to use up this yarn making these granny squares, and then I'll decide what to do with them, because with granny squares there's so many options. I mean, you can just do anything. You can make a bag, you can make a placemat, a table runner, you know, anything at all. So there's that. And years ago I tried using this yarn. Well, not years ago, because I've not been crocheting that long, but several years ago, and I didn't really like it. But this time around, I love it. I've just loved working with it. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know. It may be the colors, because when I tried using it before, I didn't have all the bright colors. And you know me, I love bright colors. So I've been working on that. Obviously not a whole lot, but that Friday night and that Saturday when she was in labor, this saved me. I mean, there is nothing that calms me like crochet. I just, you know, and knitting too, but crochet's my first love, I guess, in the fiber world. So I worked on these that weekend that the baby was born, and it just helped so much to just calm me, because it was not an uneventful delivery like we wanted it to be. But I am so grateful for God's hand in it, and that it turned out okay, because you never know. There's so many things when you're having a little one that can go wrong. And you know, I wasn't really anxious with this pregnancy. When she had her first child, I was very anxious the whole time. It was like I knew she was going to get COVID and double pneumonia and almost leave this world. It's like I sensed that from the beginning. But this pregnancy, I didn't worry. And well, for one thing, I had witnessed what God did through you know, He answered so many prayers. Her first pregnancy, and I knew He was going to get me through the second one, and He was going to get her through it. But then when her when the daddy called and he told me that you know, there were complications and they were going to do an emergency C-section, I pretty much, well, my main thing was just to get there, but it only lasted 45 minutes, and when I called him back and we were in the car to go to the hospital, she was fine and the baby was fine. So it was a very short panic situation, but it took me almost a week to get over it. But the baby is great. The baby's doing great. And so is she. She's a tough girl. She's been driving and everything. This is one I did a long time ago, and I pulled it out so that I could kind of figure out how I did the circle in a square, because I wasn't using a pattern on this one. I used a pattern on this one, I think. You know what I'm doing? I'm sitting here talking and unraveling. I need to put a stitch marker in there. Yes, indeed. Wouldn't that be awful if I hadn't noticed that and I kept pulling that yarn? Have y'all ever done that? Stitch markers. They are or stitch keepers, I guess, in this case. They are a necessity. So I've been working on that, and I've had this yarn. I was so excited to get it about a year ago. It's not been quite a year, but it's that Red Heart Jumbo Speckle, and it's Super Saver. Now this is the scratchiest yarn. I mean, it is awful. It is so scratchy. But I love the colors. I love those speckles, and I couldn't resist it. And I ordered it, so I didn't know how scratchy it was going to be. That's okay. I'm using it. I got the red color too in this. And I showed it to you in a prior video, but sorry about the ends. I haven't sewn them in, but I'm doing this kind of starburst, and then, well, it can be a flower, but I think because I didn't do a center, it looks more like a starburst. And then I'm putting the royal blue is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn around it. Look how that matches. Well, I try to get it too close to the camera. This one has a center, so it looks like a flower. But this one, I didn't want to sew in so many ends, so I just did a solid one. But my plan, I think, you see I have 5 of these, so I'm probably going to make my square bag. It looks like a box, basically. But I love making those. So I'm going to have to go this week to Hobby Lobby, because it's yarn week, and get some more of this royal blue, because I've got some pink, but I don't want to do the combination. I either want the bag to be pink with this center or blue with the center, and I want it all to be the same except for, you know, just these 2 colors. And then I'll do the pink one, because I think the pink matches really well. Red Heart Super Saver Shocking Pink would probably go better, but dummy me got rid of all that yarn because, I don't know, I just was in one of those moods, so I took it to the thrift store. I had like 3 skeins of that Shocking Pink that would match that, but anyway, it's gone. I do these things. I collect, and then I end up with too much, and then I start getting rid of it, and then sometimes I regret it. But I don't regret getting rid of the Big Twist Party, because I just felt so overwhelmed by it all, and it was all in sweater quantities. And the thoughts of crocheting a sweater out of that, just, bleh, I just didn't want to do it. And it was too thin and too lightweight to make a good bag. So I don't regret getting rid of that, and I'm so thankful Joann's return policy is such that you can take yarn back that you've had for over a year. I mean, that is awesome. And maybe that's why they're going bankrupt. I don't know, but it was nice for me to be able to get that money back. Sorry about that little... I'm just pulling out things I've been working on. I've just been playing with my yarn and having fun and not putting a lot of pressure on myself. I hope that I have enough bags already for the Fall Into Art Festival. I don't know how much inventory you need to have for something like that. I'm trying very hard not to stress about it, but truthfully, that festival and me having a booth at that festival is on my mind all the time. And I just don't know if I like selling my artwork because of that. I don't like having that hanging over me, but anyway, it's there and I've committed, so I'm going to do the best I can. But I've got right much artwork done, but honestly, since I have learned to crochet and knit, I don't want to do art as much. I mean, I do, but But this is just the best. And look at this, guys. You'll have to stay tuned and see what I do with this. Oh, I just love it. And it really is so much softer than that speckle yarn. I mean, it's like a totally different company. This is almost as soft as maybe almost as soft as Hobby Lobby, but it's just really beautiful. I just can't wait to work it up. So, Joann.com has this yarn, okay? Go check it out. I think some of it might be out of stock now because I think people have been waiting for this. But stay tuned for a later video where I will unbox the, or show you the crayon box color, because I have 2 of those coming. I only got those 2 colors because I want the brights. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And give me a comment. Let me know what you're working on, what you think, if you had a great 4th. We didn't do anything. I just kept grandbabies, which was absolutely divine. So I hope you guys are having a good start to your week, and I hope it's not too hot where you are. Talk to you next time.